Welcome to the Real Estate Investing Morning Show with your hosts, Wayne and Gabby.
Good morning.
Good morning, real estate investors, and welcome to the Canadian Real Estate Investing Morning Show. On today's show, we're going to be diving into tenants. We're going to be diving into tenant screening. We're going to be talking about our one simple rule. I think probably one of the most important rules that we use, one of the most important tests that we use when determining whether we're going to accept a tenant or not.
Yes. There's so many things that come into screening tenants and deciding whether or not you're going to offer them a lease. And really, there are lots of things that we do look at and consider. But when it all really comes down to it, there's just one thing that matters beyond the rest of them, and that we heavily put a lot of weight into.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to be talking about today, to make sure that we choose the right tenant who is going to be able to stay with us for a long time with a happy landlord-tenant relationship that isn't going to default and that isn't going to end in disaster, right? That's ultimately what we want.
Screening tenants is hard. Choosing a tenant is hard.
It's stressful for a lot of people.
You are making an enormous investment into a property, and you want to see it succeed. And the second you hand the keys over to somebody else, you're giving up a ton of control, and you're giving up. It is risky. You know, is this person going to treat this property right? Are they going to treat it like their own? And are they going to do everything that they said that they were going to do in that lease contract that we signed, and uphold that contract? But if they don't, then like they could be living there for free, and you're the one that's paying all the bills. So you need to know that, hey, if I'm going to hand these keys over, you're going to do everything that you're supposed to do. And that is incredibly stressful. Yeah. And especially when you're getting started in real estate investing and your first couple of, tenants, man, it could.
I think even just the thought of deciding and picking a tenant and putting a stranger into a property that you have spent your hard-earned money on to be able to afford to do this thing to better your future. I think that the prospect of choosing a tenant and putting somebody in there is what prevents a lot of people from actually ever doing this.
You're right.
When people are like, I don't want, that's when all the horror stories start, right? What if they trash the place? What if they don't pay rent? What if this? What if that? That's where all of the first what ifs happen.
Yeah.
When people talk about investing in real estate and owning rental properties, that is the first place that their brain goes, is what if this is an absolute disaster because I put the wrong person in there, right?
But we've got systems that we teach that can help you. And I'm so glad that you guys are here. I'm so glad that you guys are listening and watching the show, because we have answers to all of these things. Mm-hmm. And if you're willing to learn and you're willing to be brave and coachable, we will coach you and teach you everything you need to know about screening tenants. We will teach you everything you need to know about finding the best properties. We'll teach you everything you need to know about setting up those properties for success, so that they're profitable and there's little to no risk. And hopefully as pain-free as possible as well. So that's what we're here for. That's why we have the Canadian Real Estate Investing Morning Show. That's why we've been doing it for over 1,200, 1,300 episodes, something like that. That's why we do this, to help you guys to overcome those limiting beliefs, but overcome those fears as well, and go out and do something that's going to change your life, that's going to change your financial future. So thank you guys so much for being here. And I see that we've got some great people here live with us. We broadcast the show live every weekday morning at 7 a.m. on YouTube. And I see that Kirsten's here and Craig is here, and who else?
Mayatoma, Carmen. We have Francis here, Manny's here, all here saying good morning, and good morning to you guys.
You have to say good morning, otherwise we don't know that you're here.
Yeah.
It doesn't show us unless you comment. So say good morning, let us know. Have you ever, Charn, good morning, I see you there. Have you guys ever screened tenants before? Or are you still new to this game? Is this your first time? Are you looking to buy your first investment property? Well, let us know. And let us know maybe if you have some tips and some tricks, or some things that you maybe some rules that you have about accepting tenants. We're going to share our most important one in our opinion, and probably the one that we really lean in on the most. Like if there were a pie chart or a pie graph or whatever you call it, pie chart.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pie chart.
I would say this would take up at least 50 to 60%. At least.
Biggest slice of pie.
The biggest slice of pie. Good morning to Stuart. And what's my Thomas say there?
Screening tenants is the most challenging part, in my opinion.
Yeah. It is scary. We've done it. I don't like exaggerating, thousands.
Yeah.
Thousands of times. I have no idea even where we're at this point. But we've done it a lot, and we've learned a lot, and we've learned about what we can control and what we can't control, and that also helps out as well. My Toma, I would highly recommend, really just like that might be another important hidden lesson for today, is that there are things that you can control and there's things that you can't control, and so we focus heavily on the things that we can control, and we put as much weight into that as possible, and the things that we can't control, we just accept. It is what it is. And then we have other systems, other backup systems that cover us for that, right? Now, haven't had the weather girl around here very much lately. She's been enjoying the summer vacay. But she's, this week at the very least, she's been feeling a little guilty about not showing up and not doing her job. Maybe it's because
I think you've been making her feel guilty.
Maybe it's because the checks weren't cashing when she went to the bank and realized, wait a second, where's my money? And I said, you're not getting any money because you're not showing up to work. I don't know. But I know that everybody misses you, and I know that everybody really enjoys the weather. So what is the weather looking like across Canada today?
Before she says the weather, can I just make a quick statement? If she grows anymore, she's not going to fit in our frame here.
We're going to need a bigger lens.
We're going to need a bigger lens. We're going to need to back this up.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah. Anyways, please tell us the weather.
The weather today will be 21 degrees in Edmonton, 28 degrees in Vancouver, 22 degrees in Winnipeg, 21 degrees in Hamilton, and 24 degrees in Halifax.
Awesome. Thanks, Evie.
We're thinking about making a little trip to Vancouver.
Apparently it's hot and smoky there.
Oh. Maybe I might hold off then. I don't know. We need another trip. I'm not done for the summer. Like I need, if I could get 3 more trips in, that'd be great. But there's only like one. I always thought summer ended on like Labor Day. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
So like, but I mean like summer can go as long as we want, as long as it's still warm for us, because our kids homeschooled and we're self-employed. So
yes,
I guess we can do whatever we want.
Yeah.
But I wanted to go out and catch a soccer game or 2 and go for a hike or 2 and eat some food
or 2.
I heard Vancouver's nice this time of year, but I guess if Vancouver's no good, then I guess we're going to Winnipeg.
Oh boy, I think we'll stick to Vancouver.
What? We have Winnipeg listeners, right?
Yeah, but we don't have family in Winnipeg.
And?
Let's go visit some family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Portland's nice this time of year.
Have we been this time of year?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have this time of year.
Portland's lovely.
Portland's lovely. Good food. I just want to go get some good food and go for a hike or 2.
Greg says head to the East Coast.
East Coast?
Yeah, we do have family over there to visit as well. Good idea.
We could do that as well. Halifax is on the list.
Yeah.
Where else should we go? Put it in the comments. I just need somewhere. I just need somewhere other than Edmonton.
Next?
I just need somewhere other than Edmonton, because when it's not like when we're not drowning in water, it's the air quality shit. I swear to God, the water went away for like half a second, and we go and pull up the weather network, and it's like, there's no rain. Great. Air quality 10. I'm like, give me a fucking break, man. Like,
well,
we went from a snorkel to an air mask
and
to a respirator.
and in between all of that, just swatting mosquitoes away.
And then mosquitoes, like it's. Did I sin? Is this the rapture? Like, what is this? Give me a break. I need to get out of Edmonton. I'm not. Here's the deal. 2026 got written off.
Like the summer or the
No,
year?
the whole fucking year. It's freezing here. Like there is no reason to be living here most of the year in Edmonton, unless of course you're working. And guess what? I don't work in oil and gas anymore, so I have no reason to be here.
Yeah.
And then the one little bit of time that I get to go and enjoy it, I'm out with a snorkel, I'm in a respirator, or I'm in a fucking bee suit because I'm getting eaten alive by mosquitoes.
Yeah, it's true. Well, you literally see people with the like mosquito net hats, like out with full coverage. But it's true. Edmonton is known as the festival city, and the reason why a lot of us tolerate living in Alberta is because we have these beautiful summers with these really long, beautiful days with, really nice, decent weather. And then we have these festivals like all summer. So you can just be out late, like on the weekends, enjoying these amazing festivals all summer. And it's actually this like really cool vibe, this really cool city to be in the summer. But literally, like these festivals are being like shut down, like because every night these massive storms are rolling in. So like it's not safe to have like concerts. It's not safe to have like K days, like well, there's concerts there as well, but the fair, the rides and stuff. So like literally, they're like evacuating people from these festivals every night.
Yeah.
So there's nothing to enjoy.
Somebody save Kim Mitchell.
I think with Kesha and Matt Rife.
Matt
Both
Rife
got
nearly got
canceled.
taken away by a tornado.
Okay, don't start rumors. Anyways. It's true. We need to get away.
Now you understand why we need to get away? I need to move.
Yeah.
Stuart says the Bruce Peninsula is a beauty. Yeah, I can agree with that.
What's that? Must be Ontario.
Not since I was a kid. But I guess I really didn't appreciate it at that time as a kid. But yeah. Anyways, what else? Carmen says go to Waterton. Everybody keeps saying go to Waterton. I haven't been to Waterton yet.
Yeah, we haven't. Actually, I haven't either.
Everybody says it's nice.
Francis says Fort McMurray.
All right.
No, thank you.
All right.
Never been and never plan to be.
Well, let's just be honest with each other. Fort McMurray is probably nicer than Edmonton.
You think?
It's got more trees. I mean, it's
Does
probably a nicer view. I mean, even just the highway is probably a nicer view. Anyways.
How'd we get here?
How did we get here?
Yeah.
Work. We came here for work.
No, I meant like where'd this conversation start and how did we get here?
I haven't been on a rant in a while. And my rant is Edmonton. Okay. What a great place to invest. What a terrible place to live. What a terrible place to live. Like there's and the cool thing is that like that I want to move. That I've been like trying to find our forever home. It's been an ongoing thing for fucking 6 years at least since the pandemic. And I just cannot figure out where. And then obviously all the stuff that went on and like the real estate changing in Edmonton between 2023 and 2024 with the zoning rule changes. I'm like, I'm not buying anything until I figure out how this is actually going to play out. And I'm glad I didn't, because I could have
ended up right beside
I could have ended up right beside an eightplex. So I'm glad that I didn't. There were a lot of areas that I was considering that changed dramatically, the real estate there. So we've narrowed it down to, I think, two neighborhoods in this giant city that we could, potentially buy a house in, but then we have to wait for the perfect house. And then very likely I want to find one that's dilapidated because I want to renovate it up to what we want. I don't want to buy one that's like in really great shape and then completely redo it because I'm going to pay full price for it. Still an investor at heart. So it's going to take a while, but either that or but now, like, even with, the city and like the way that it's going, I don't even know if I want to live here anymore. So I don't know. I might need a different place. Hard to say. Any ideas where we should move? I didn't like Kelowna. Before somebody says Kelowna, stop. I didn't like it.
I don't know what your beef is. We argued about this quite a bit.
On our trip to Kelowna, I'm sorry. I thought it was overrated. I think Kelowna's overrated. It's not my vibe.
I think that Kelowna, oh, it's not my vibe either, like 100%. I lived, a few hours from Kelowna, grew up a few hours from Kelowna, and just went there very infrequently. But definitely not the vibe. But it is a lifestyle. Like if you move to Kelowna, it's because you want a certain lifestyle that includes
Define that
water,
lifestyle.
that includes water sports, it includes wine, and it's lake life, lake life.
Too posh for me.
Yeah, posh
Too
lake
like
life.
posh. I don't know. And it's funny that like I'll say I don't like Kelowna, and then I literally just a few minutes ago said Portland, and that is just so completely out of character for me because Portland is just
Not here.
so is so the opposite direction. It is. I mean, you guys have watched Portlandia. I mean, it is exactly what the show is. Like it's the first time I went to Portland, I was like, oh wow, they are really literally like the people on the show here. It's crazy. But I liked it. I liked how chill it was, and I liked how everybody was so chill and nobody was getting up in my business. And I liked the hiking, and I liked the area and the things you could do. I was like, man, I could totally live in Portland. I don't think I would fit in, but I could totally live here.
I think the people would drive you crazy eventually.
But they're not as threatening. I would, yeah, okay.
Oh, I don't know. We'll figure it out, you guys. We will one day. Probably when we're like 65, maybe.
It's
Give us another 25 years.
Yeah, or another 25 minutes on the show. I have the ability to solve any problem. That is the one problem I cannot solve. That is the one. It's unsolvable. It is the unsolved mystery of my life. Where do I want to live? I can't make up my mind. I need something chill. I need something with good food, and I need something with good coffee. I realize that I've just been working so much for the last 19 years. Now that's 19 years since I met you. I've just been working so fucking hard building out our life the way that I want it to be. And I think that I've done everything right. I think I've made every decision that I've made has been putting us in the right direction. And I got it to this point, where we have all the resources and all the ability to make these decisions now. Now I just cannot make the final decision as to what do I want my life to look like if I were to craft it, if I were to draw it exactly as I would want it to be. It's the hardest decision because it's almost final. It's not final. I could always change it. I could always just like scratch it off and then redo it again. But, when you get to this point where, life is everything that you want it, is everything you could want it to be, to design it exactly how you want it to be, that's hard. And I share that with you guys, not just out of frustration. It is frustration, but also for you guys to I want you to consider it as well on your journey of building out your portfolios and building out your dream life. And you guys are all working very, very, very hard on what it is that you're doing to build a better life. But along the way, don't forget to think about where it is that you're going and what it is that you want to do. Because when you get there, I promise you, it's not as easy as you think. Everybody says they want to live on a beach and work on a beach, and I want to scroll MLS in the morning, and then I want to go do yoga, and then I want to read to my kids, and I want to make a delicious, brunch, and I want to go and fly on my plane. I want to go see a Knicks game. I want to go on the boat. Like everybody has this like hallmark fucking dream of what they want their life to look like, and then you actually get close to it, and you're like, that's not what I actually want. That's what I want to do once a year on the weekends. But otherwise, what do you want your actual life to look like? And who do you want to be around? That's a tough decision. I don't think it's Edmonton. It's not on my dream board. But
That's a great point.
yeah, along the way, it's easy to get kind of distracted with the other shit. And the reason why you don't ever think about this stuff is because you're constantly screening tenants and dealing with evictions and, interest rates are going up, and it's impossible to find tenants, and your basements are flooding, and you got roof coming in. So you got water coming in from all angles. You got water coming in from the side, from the bottom. You got water coming in from the top. I mean, I don't know if we talked about this in the show yet. We got a roof leaking that's caused. I was looking in the basement. I've been looking in the basement for water. I didn't realize I had to look in the fucking master bedroom. So we just bought a property, and there's literally water and the carpet up on the walls coming from the roof. So we're trying to get that dealt with because we got a tenant moving in this Saturday, and the carpet's all soaked. Yeah. Anyways, it's easy to get kind of distracted with all this stuff because the journey is it's a handful. It's a handful, and it's a mindful. But it's also important to, like I said, be mindful of what it is and why it is that you're doing it. The reason why we're doing this in the first place, and keeping your eye on the target, because if you keep your eye on the target, it'll help you kind of keep moving along. So today we're going to be talking about one thing that hopefully we can kind of resolve for you guys, make it easier for you, like Maya Thomas said. Screening tenants can be incredibly stressful and scary, and we want to make it easier for you. We want to make it more simple for you. We have a simple test that we use, a rule that allows us to determine whether we accept a tenant or not. It's really that simple, and we're going to share that with you guys today, again, to alleviate some of the stress and the workload for you guys, to make it easier, so that way you can focus on more important things like scaling your business and getting you closer to your goals. We're going to get into that test and share that with you once we come back from the break. We'll be right back.
Real estate investors need to treat debt differently than homeowners, and at Kirkland & Brennan Mortgage Group, we understand that. For the last 11 years, we've helped real estate investors plan and build their portfolios. We understand how to help you avoid fees, penalties, getting yourself stuck, and making sure that the deal you're doing today doesn't stop the deal you want to do tomorrow. You can reach out to Keaton, Keaton, at kbmortgages.ca. Put plan in the subject line, and we'll help you build a plan and then realize it for your real estate goals. We also coordinate with the other professionals like your accountant, lawyer, realtor, and we will help you build your portfolio. So reach out. We'll do our best to help. Thanks, guys.
You've got showings, lease signings, suite renos, condo board meetings, credit checks, mortgage financing, and every so often the tenant clogs the sink because they shoved macaroni down there. Stop. Breathe. Leave the bookkeeping to Fingo. Fingo is specialized real estate bookkeeping by real estate investors with tailored services for maximum returns. Save time. Enhance your returns. Claim the plumbing repair for that ridiculous macaroni fiasco. Book your free consultation at fingo.com.
Summer. While everyone's getting distracted, this is when the market gets quiet. Not because the opportunities disappear, but because the people do. Vacations, long weekends, these are the distractions I'm talking about. And that's exactly when serious investors make their moves. At Calvin Realty, this is one of our favorite windows. Less competition, more flexibility, and sellers who are actually open to negotiating. While everyone else is stepping away, we're stepping in. If you're looking to buy right, not just buy fast, this is your edge. Calvin Realty. Opportunity doesn't take time off.
And we are back. Have you guys ever heard of the Smith maneuver?
Yeah, heck yeah.
Yeah, have you guys ever heard of the Smith maneuver? It's a tax strategy that allows you to deduct the
mortgage interest.
The non-deductible portion of why can't I talk this morning? I didn't prep this, and I haven't talked about the Smith maneuver in so long. That's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow. So then the interest on your mortgage on your personal home is not deductible, right? You can't deduct that on your taxes. But with the Smith maneuver, you can. And it's a very, very cool maneuver that allows you to be able to make that non-deductible interest on your mortgage deductible. And the amount of savings that you can get from doing this maneuver, this strategy, is phenomenal. And basically the whole purpose is to convert all that non-deductible portion of your mortgage or interest to deductible. And like I said, the savings is phenomenal. We got a Smith maneuver expert coming on tomorrow. He's also a mortgage expert too. His name is Keaton Kirkwood. He is the investor-focused mortgage broker extraordinaire. Mm-hmm. He's coming on the show tomorrow. We're going to talk about the Smith maneuver and how you guys can apply it to make so much more savings for you, which is going to enable you and allow you to take those savings and then reinvest it into real estate, which is going to help you reach your goals significantly faster. So tune in tomorrow for that.
Yeah.
Tune in tomorrow for that. Okay. So screening tenants is hard. We established that already?
Yes. It is. It can be difficult.
Yes. But we do have one simple test that we do, one simple rule that I would say covers about, like I said, 50 to 60% of our screening on whether we're going to say yes to a tenant or no to a tenant. Now, I just want to share something with you guys really quickly here. And this might be a big aha moment for you. This might be a big light bulb moment for you. So I want you to really pay attention to this, because when I said earlier about, like, you know, one of the hidden underlying, you know, nuggets that you're going to learn from today is that there are some things that you can control and there are some things that you can't. You know, this right here really highlights that and really just shines a big light on that. So I need you guys to remember this one thing. Tenants do not wake up in the morning and say, I don't want to pay rent today. Okay? We are not screening our applicants to screen villains out. We're not being like, oh yeah, here's my filter. No villains are getting through here today, right? There's no like evil tenants that just wake up and say, you know what? I'm not paying the rent today because I don't want to.
I don't feel like it.
I don't feel like it.
Mm-mm.
We are not screening for that.
Not today, landlord.
You know what? I'm tired of paying your bills. You pay your bills this month.
Yeah.
No, that's not how it works. Nobody just wakes up and says, you know, I don't want to pay the rent today. The reason why they're not paying rent is because they can't afford it. Think about that. That's the perspective that you need for this. When you realize it comes down to affordability, their ability to be able to afford it, you'll put a lot more weight and value in checking affordability during your screening process. Yeah. Because like credit scores, criminal record checks, reference calls, and social media checks, you know what I mean? And then you'll also you'll download all these programs. You go to all these websites and things like that because they're going to tell you exactly, you know, who's the best tenant to choose, and they're going to rate them and score them off based off of all these different things. That's all fine and dandy, and that's all important. You should check social media. You should check Google, you know, run their name to see if they've, you know, anything crazy's ever happened to them. You should call their past landlords. You should call, you know, you should do your criminal record checks and your background checks. You should check the credit score. But do any of those actually tell you the likelihood of them being able to afford the rent? Mm-hmm. No. They're all very valuable, but they don't actually tell you whether they can afford it or not. So once you realize that is that the subject month, you know, the month in question of whether they can pay the rent or not pay the rent really comes down to how much money they have coming in, how much money they have going out, and how much can they really afford. So what we've developed is a very, very, very simple test. A very simple test, and we call it the rent to income test. And this test, which again is very simple, any of you can understand, even the ones who are a little bit slower. Any one of you can understand this. And if you apply this, this is going to make screening tenants and choosing the right tenants so much easier.
Yeah. And if we go back and think about it, because you talked about, you know, it's really in can they afford to pay? Affordability assesses the tenant's literal ability to pay. Are they able to pay rent? Whereas all those other things that you listed off, the social media checks, the credit reports, the everything else, I can't remember all the things that you said, the references and stuff, is really just looking at their like willingness and reliability. Mm-hmm. I think is really how we can group those things together. But do any of those things matter if there's not money in the bank account? Does their willingness to pay, does the fact that they really want to pay you and that they're otherwise reliable matter if there's no money in the bank account?
I know lots of people that would love to pay the rent, that would love to rent this home. That's perfect. I'm totally going to pay the rent. I'm going to do whatever it takes. But like you said,
wonderful people.
Yeah, wonderful. But if the money ain't there,
there's nothing they can do. Yeah.
Where's it coming from?
They're checking the couch cushions, right?
All the best
So-
intentions.
So the number one thing that it really does come down to is affordability, because nothing else matters if that key component isn't there. And when we think about defaults when we look at when tenants default, almost every default starts with a cash flow problem, right? So their own cash flow problem, how much money is coming into their account, how much money is leaving, and how much is left over.
Well, let's
Right.
talk about a few examples of cash flow problems. Because they might have the right affordability there from day one, but some things can happen. Just like us as investors, we talk about the storms. We talk about, the 5% rule for our portfolio, making sure that we have enough cash flow, a sufficient amount of cash flow, in case storms come in and inevitably wipe us out.
Yeah.
So, for example, rents go down, interest rates go up. We have surprise furnace repairs, surprise roof repairs, leaks in the roof that turn into, wet carpets and things like that, furnace filters, all those other types of things. We as investors, we have a specific margin that we want to see of cash flow to make sure that we can weather any storm that comes in, right? So similarly, should tenants probably think the same way rather than just be like, oh, I can afford it. I make enough money to pay this every month. But what happens when things don't go right? What happens when storms come in for them? Like they need new tires.
Yeah. Car breaks down, emergency with their pet. Dog ends up at the emergency vet.
What if their hours get reduced? What if
Hours
they
get
didn't get
reduced.
as many tips this week?
Yeah.
What if maybe they're self-employed and nobody wants a haircut?
What if they get sick and can't work for a week?
What if their kid gets sick and can't work for a week? Again, they have all the best intentions of paying it, but if the money's not there, the money's not there, right? So it's not like these are bad people. And they might have the tip-top best credit score because they've always paid. They've always done what they said they were going to do. And they are great people with the best intentions. But what happens when things outside of their control change and they can't because of outside factors? Do you allow that to happen? Do you cover their rent for them? Do you give them, well, don't worry about it, you can pay me back in 3 months. Is that a good way to operate your business? No, because there's a contract in place. They're supposed to do what they're supposed to do, and you're supposed to do what you're supposed to do, right? And that's the way that it's supposed to work. So there are lots of things that can happen with tenants.
Yeah.
Tons of things that can happen with tenants. And we need to know that they also have a reasonable amount of cash flow. So in the event that things don't go as planned for them.
Yeah, so this affordability test is really kind of like a shock absorption test.
Ooh.
It's like how much of a cushion do they have where when those storms happen that the impact doesn't wipe them out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like how much of a shock absorption. And this test is just as much to protect us as landlords as it is to protect them. Mm-hmm. As in their own life and their own affordability.
That's a great point because, it's not just about us. It's also about them as well. Because again, if they're great people and this has never happened to them before and they've always paid their bills. And I mean, you called their previous landlord as well, right? And they said, oh yeah, they always paid rent on time, right? What we don't want to do is put them in a situation, a high risk situation where they could be exposed to that risk and something could happen that's outside of their control and they're unable to pay the rent. We don't want good people to fail. And we don't want to be in a situation where we're working with someone or relying on someone to do something and then they fail and then we have to uphold that contract. We have to do what's right for our business. I don't want to be in that position.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to tell a really good person, I'm sorry your kid was sick for a week and in the children's hospital, but rent is due and send me the money right now.
Yeah.
Do you really want to be that person? And guess what? I would, because this is a business, and I hate fucking saying that, but I would, because I take all the emotion out of this. This is business. But I'm telling you right now, most of you guys are not that strong. And That's perfectly fine. I love that about all you guys. I love that you guys are so fucking human, and I love that you'll work with anybody in any situation because it wasn't their fault. But that's not a fucking place that you want to be in. And that is not how you want to be running your business. So we need to make sure that we avoid this at all costs. We need to make sure that we avoid situations like that where good people are in bad situations and we feel bad for them, right? And the best thing that we can do is proactively not accept them.
This is true. And I hope that that all really just made sense, because we don't want to end up in that situation to begin with.
Yeah.
And if we can make sure that they have really good affordability right out of the gate, the chances of us ending up in that situation where we need to make that decision to say, I'm sorry that this is happening to you, but you need to pay rent or I'm evicting you. We want to avoid getting in that position in the first place, right?
They might not be strong enough or wise or smart enough in order to know what they can't afford.
This is true. Yeah.
And again, we're doing it for them and not for us. I mean, we're doing it for both, but we're also doing it for them as well, because they might be like, hey, honey, we really need this 4th bedroom. I know it's kind of tight, but I think that we can do it.
Yeah.
And then they apply and then they show you, hey, we're great credit score, great jobs. We've never missed anything. You know what I mean?
Take a chance on me.
Take a chance on me. But it's, when you're looking at it from a risk perspective, it's high risk that they're going to miss a payment.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you right now, there's a good chance that you're probably going to bend your rules because they're great people. And I see Carmen's in the live chat here on YouTube right now with us. And she says, I've done it and it sucks. And I know so many people that have done it. And I know so many of our students as well that even though we taught them to avoid this, they still do it. Because sometimes it's easier to take the path of least resistance. Sometimes, even though you put those rules in place, sometimes it's easier to just be like, okay, let's just give them 2 weeks and see how it goes. Let's just give them, they said, we worked out a payment plan over the next 6 months. They're going to pay me $100 every month for the next 6 months to pay it off. Okay, sure. But that was the first storm. You think it only rains once? It's going to happen again. It's going to happen again. I've seen it time and time again with real estate investors. Then you get so far gone and you get so, you let it slide for so long that now it's significantly worse than what it was originally. You should have pulled the Band-Aid off originally when their kid was in the children's hospital. I know that sounds fucking terrible. I know. I am not a bad person. But what I'm trying to tell you is avoid it altogether. Follow this simple rent to income test. And if they don't meet it, don't accept them. I don't care how nice they are. I don't care how perfect they are as human beings compared to all the other plebs applicants that you've had recently. The applications have been coming in like crazy, but they're all terrible and they're all terrible people. And you're just like, oh, and then one nice family comes along. You're like, honey, can we keep them? Honey, can we keep them, please?
We need to make
Please.
this work.
We got to make this work. They're just so lovely. And oh my God, they came with they had a truck full of flowers and they're going to put them all up on the deck and everything. Oh, can we keep them, honey? And you'll do whatever the fuck it takes and you'll bend your rules. And I promise you, you'll be back here in a year and be like, I'm sorry, Wayne, you were right. Right? And here's the other thing. Shitty things happen to good people.
Yeah.
It's life.
Yeah.
And the more people you meet, the more you realize that everybody's got shit. Everybody's got a kid in the children's hospital. Everybody gets laid off. Everybody's got a parent that lives in Haiti that passed away, and then they had to take 2 months off to go and help out and deal with the estate. I've heard everything, and it's all terrible. Everybody's got terrible things that happen in their life. I know you're only used to your family and being exposed to whatever terrible things happen in your family, but the more families that you have in your portfolio, the more you're going to realize shitty things happen to everybody. And storms come in and ruin people's lives all the time. All the time. So don't think that just because something bad hasn't happened to you recently, that bad things don't happen to everybody all the time. Go and ask 10 people today, what's the worst thing that's happened to you in the last 2 years? And I'm sure they've got a terrible fucking story about how they were in the hospital and nearly died because they were in the hospital for 3 weeks because of some infection. Everybody's got a story, right? And all of those things affect their ability to be able to fulfill their obligations, paying their bills, right?
Yeah.
They're not immune to it.
Yeah.
By knowing that and accepting that for what it is, you need to put systems in place in order to protect you and your business. Okay? You are a great human being. I already said that. I love the fact that you care so much about other people. When it comes to business, clear fucking systems and sticking to them.
Yeah.
And if you don't think that you can uphold those systems and those rules in your business, then put a system in place that avoids it altogether. Okay? Let's talk about the rent income test. This is super simple. And actually, it's you developed this, Gabby, but you pulled it, you literally stole it from mortgage brokers.
Yeah.
from mortgage lenders.
Yeah. So the big question that investors ask is like, okay, it's great. I get it. We need to know that they can afford it, that the affordability aspect is there. But how do you know what affordable is, right? That's what everybody wants to know. It's like, I understand. Okay. Yeah, I get it. But how do you know that they can afford it? And the affordability test is really just a metric that takes the guesswork out of making that decision, right? It, once again, we always end up where it always falls back on math, right? Yep. And who likes math? I don't, but I like easy math. I like when it's a really simple formula that is just like, doop, okay, yes, no, move on, or okay, we have something here to work with, right? And so that's why I love this so much and why it was such an easy metric for me to adopt and put into our systems, because I can look at the documentation that comes in from our tenants and I can verify that, okay, this is how much they make. And then I can look at how much we're charging for rent. I can do a quick calculation. And then it's like, okay, I have something here to work with. Let's go. And I can start digging deeper. But affordability is the most important metric to me. If it doesn't exist, if it doesn't meet my criteria, I am not moving on to look at all the other things for all of the reasons that we just talked about. Yeah. So this simple test or formula is literally just the ratio of the amount of rent that we are charging in comparison to the amount of monthly income that they are bringing in. Okay, so it's just comparing those two numbers, the amount of rent that we're charging in comparison to the amount of monthly income that they're bringing in.
And you use the gross monthly income, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the gross monthly income.
Yeah, the gross monthly income. And so this ratio, like you just talked about, I kind of stole it from mortgage brokers and
or underwriters, I guess.
For underwriters, yeah, but also I think that this is also just a quick, easy formula that mortgage brokers take into account when they first meet with a client. It's like I think that I mean I've never really talked in depth with a mortgage broker about it, but I imagine that it's something that they quickly do before also diving in deeper. But it's a percentage. So the percentage that we use in this formula is 35%.
Okay.
So we don't want the tenants, or we don't want our rent to exceed 35% of the gross monthly income that they are bringing in. Okay. And this isn't like, say this is a married couple or two roommates or just a single person. We're talking about the gross rent of every income earner in the household. Okay, so we're not looking at, can the wife afford it? Okay, yeah, they meet 35%. Can the husband afford it? Okay, yeah, they meet 35%. No, it's all the income that is brought in by the household. And then does rent meet that 35% of the income that they're bringing in?
Yeah.
So if it's above 35%, that means that they can't afford it. If it meets 35% or is below, that means that they can afford it, or that they can really afford it. They have a really good cushion.
Yeah.
And so what we're doing mathematically is we are saying, let's take an easy number because I'm really bad at math. And Wayne, I'll get you to do it for me. Let's say rent is $2,000 and they are bringing in $6,500. What we're going to do is we are going to say 2,000 divided by 6,500 equals
30.7%.
30.7%. Okay, so we're below the 35% threshold. We are looking golden.
Yeah.
Now let's dig into the rest of their application and the rest of the documentation that they have supplied us with.
So it's a quick, easy, simple rule that you can just do really fast, especially
Rent divided by income.
Yeah, and even before you start collecting all their documents, like the initial application that we take upon someone viewing the property, that right there, when they show us how much money they make and we look at the rent, we can just do that calculation very fast to determine, do we want to pursue this tenant further and get more additional information from them, get their credit report, or are they just a no-go right out the gate, right? It's a quick and easy, simple test. Because once you gather more information, the next step, like you said, Gabby, then we're going to dive a little bit deeper and see, like, do they have a ridiculous amount of debt payments? Do they have a car payments and those types of things? Then we can determine, okay, like, how much are they creeping over now? You know what I mean? They say they make $6,500, but they got a $2,000 Beamer payment.
Yeah.
Well, that might change things a little bit, right?
Yeah, and this is the big question that our students often have is this just black and white? Like, if they can afford it, if we're putting so much weight into affordability, if they can afford it and, their landlord gives them a good reference, are we just good to go? And the rule isn't black and white, because there are other considerations that need to come into play. Like Wayne just said, you kind of just like you just exposed like a big flaw in this calculation.
Yeah.
Right? It's like you just sliced it open and we saw the insides and we're like, oh, it's not as clean and tidy as we thought it was.
Well, nothing is.
What's that?
Nothing is.
Nothing is. That's true. Yeah. And the answer is that it's not black and white. This isn't just a hard, fast rule where it's like we put so much weight into affordability that they can afford it. Here you go. Here's the keys.
Yeah.
Because there are things like, how much debt are they carrying? Did
Monthly
they just
payments.
go buy a big jacked up expensive truck and now they have this massive vehicle payment and really expensive insurance because it's got a big Hemi in it, and all these things that come into play. It's not just about the amount of their income that they're putting towards the housing. It's also about how they're spending the rest of it.
Yeah.
Right? Because the rest of it, that other 65% of their income that they're bringing in, needs to be able to support their lifestyle.
Yeah.
And what is their lifestyle? Right?
Yeah.
Is it simple? And they just have a couple small credit cards that obviously they're just maybe using for credit building or for whatever, or are they heavily relying on debt and they've racked up a lot of debt and now they have a lot of payments, and suddenly that's where all that money's going into. It's not going into just groceries and kids' activities and the regular kind of life stuff, right?
Yeah we really do look deep into all of that, and I'll even take that one step further, and one thing that I like to consider is that, like, they can afford it, and let's say they've got $25,000 worth of debt, and yes, even with the added debt payments that they have that they're obligated to pay on those line of credit and credit cards every month, they could still meet the affordability. But question needs to be asked, why are they in a position where they've got $25,000 worth of revolving debt? Like, what got them into that position? Because that's a lot of debt for just a normal family. Not for us as investors. It's okay. That's being used for that, and I got this deal going on. And us real estate investors, we use debt as a tool. But for anyone else that's not investing, debt is not a tool. It is a lifeline. And why have they used up $25,000 before the age of 30? And like, how are they going to be paying that off? And are they in a position now where they're going to continue to keep building up more and more debt in order to feed their lifestyle, whatever lifestyle that may be? So we do need to take that into consideration, because, if we're planning on keeping these tenants for a long time and they want to live there and raise their family, et cetera, are they going to continue to keep racking up debt? And is this a high risk situation? So we have to look at that too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And Oh, I just had a thought as you were talking about that, but I
Okay,
lost it.
It's as to summarize, it isn't black and white, but we use this as a first initial test, and it will normally filter out a majority of applicants immediately. And I'll tell you right now, recently, with the affordability crisis in Canada for the last few years, that 35%, that rent to income test that we've been using, has been one of the most difficult things that I have to deal with on a day-to-day basis for approving tenants, because most of our applicants are not meeting it.
Yeah.
It is actually, I'd say, less than 10% of applicants that are coming in right now actually meet the 35% rule there. And honestly, this is something that Gabby and I have been battling on for quite some time. And it's funny, I'm the one that's trying to bend the rules, because I'm looking at it being like, I'm trying to accept the situation. I'm trying to accept the things I can control, and ignoring the things that I can't. I'm getting tired of ignoring the fact that, most people can't afford it. At what point do we need to change our parameters and dial up our risk meter?
Yeah.
And that's something we've been battling with. So I've been looking much deeper into, their applications and their paperwork and being like, okay, yeah, I know that they're 40% on this test. However, they don't have a car. They're riding the bus. So we can accept this one, right? Right? I'm looking at like everything. Yeah, I know that, but they're also a plumber and they do, odd jobs and things like that. So they're going to pick up some extra cash as well. Like, I'm trying to bend the rules as much as possible to get really good people in there, because honestly, affordability has been very difficult in Canada recently.
Yeah. And Wayne's risk meter is also a lot higher than mine. Like, he's willing to accept a lot more risk than I am. I'm a stickler for rules and for guidelines and, to have these type of tests to follow, because it takes the guesswork out without putting yourself into a risky situation. And
calculated risk.
Yes, calculated risk, of course.
It's very calculated.
Yeah, and we also are very comfortable when we find ourselves in bad situations like defaults. We're very comfortable navigating those situations and knowing that we're still going to come out on top. So, but when we go back to it, we also don't want to put our tenants in that situation to begin with, right? And there is the question that, when Wayne and I battle this and we talk about it, there's the question that arises of, has inflation killed the affordability test or the affordability metric that we're looking at? And it's funny because when we look back at history and we talked about how mortgage brokers use this rule, it actually started many years ago, but it actually started with a 30% rule. Yeah. And so it has been pushed over the years and has now landed higher. And will inflation continue to push the boundaries on this? Because there is an affordability crisis, not just around being able to afford housing, but it's everything. I think we talked yesterday about how much have groceries increased, and Wayne said, what is it, like 400%? It is something crazy. Everything is more expensive. It's not just housing. Right. And so people are being stretched and stretched and stretched. And, I think that the 35% metric or ratio affordability test can really teach you a lot about your rental property.
Yeah.
When it comes down to it, I think that there's a lesson that it teaches us, because all of us landlords are out here trying to say, okay, how far can we push rents? We want our properties to have the best risk mitigation. We want the most amount of cash flow to be able to weather storms, right?
We're worried about our risks, right? We're worried about, we want to make sure that we have enough cash flow so that we can weather storms, right?
Yeah.
But what that's doing is kind of on the other side, we're kind of pushing rents up.
We're pushing rents up, and we're on the other side of it, we're making the management of our business operate at a higher risk, because we're making the prospect of a default a greater and greater chance, right? And so I think what this rule teaches us about our rental property is that if we set our rents and we start showing to prospective tenants and they start viewing the property and they love it, and we start getting applications in, and we start seeing that we're getting a lot of great applications with a lot of tenants who can afford who meet the 35% rule, then we're probably in a really sweet spot, right? Yeah. Where it's like, okay, this works. We have a few great tenants to choose from. Let's make a decision. Boom, we're good. So we're probably in a really great sweet spot. But if we set our rents and we start setting viewings and people are coming in, they're like, we really love this, we really want it. And we start getting applications and we're like, oh my God, none of these people can afford it. This person's at 40, this person's at almost 50%. This person's, it's kind of 38. I don't know, like, are we pushing it?
Yeah.
And we're trying to, and then all of a sudden we're having conversations of like, can we stretch this? Like, like Wayne said, well, they don't have a car. They don't have a car payment and insurance and, all these other things. And we're trying to fit them into this tight little, criteria and stretching that. Is that an opportunity now for us to look at this rental property in this area with the type of tenants that it's attracting? Maybe we are trying to charge too much rent for what this property is.
Yeah.
Right? And so I like to look at this rule as kind of like a learning opportunity to teach us about this property that we've purchased and who it's attracting and what that tenant profile can afford.
Yeah.
Of course, we should be thinking about these things before we buy the property. We should have a good idea of who's going to want to live in that area.
That's what I really wanted to wrap up today's show with. And everything you've said has been phenomenal. I didn't want to cut you off because you're absolutely right. And, this is so much more than what can our tenants afford. But it ties into so many other systems and rules that we have as well. And it ties into, like you just said, choosing the right property from day one and considering the tenant profile and considering the affordability of our tenant profile. And, we want a specific type of tenant. We want a specific type of tenant that makes a certain amount of money. Is there a demand for that type of tenant wanting this type of property in this city, in this market, in this neighborhood for this type of property?
Yeah. Is
it even there? And so you have to think about all this stuff even before you buy the property. To know, is there a demand for this? Do people that I want to rent to actually want to rent here? And can they afford it? If you're not thinking about that ahead of time, then you're going to buy the wrong property for the wrong people. And then it's not going to work. And you're like, oh, this fucking sucks. Real estate sucks. It took me 3 months to find a tenant. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Could have told you that from the beginning, right? So everything that we teach, there's a lot more to it. And it's very difficult for us to come to you guys today and just be like, this one affordability test will solve all of your problems. No, it doesn't work like that.
There's lessons in all of it, and there's fundamentals that need to be followed.
Right? And that's why we have the REI Masters Mentorship Program, because it teaches all of this and it ties it all together. Right? When Wayne says, do this, you have to understand there's so many other strings.
Because of this,
and this, right? I just don't have time to explain the 12 hours, worth of information to you. So at the very least, we've taught you something today that can help you with just your quick little spot check to determine,
should we look further?
Does this application deserve to be looked at into further, right?
Yeah.
But just understand that there's so much more to it, and we love to continue to keep teaching you more about this. So keep listening to the show. Keep tuning in every day live. If you can't make it live, make sure that you listen to every episode, because if you listen to every episode of the Canadian Real Estate Investing Morning Show every single day throughout the year, you're going to learn pretty much everything you need to know about investing in real estate. We cover everything, guys. So keep showing up, keep dedicating yourself to it. It's all free. And if you have any questions about anything we talk about, feel free to join us live on the show at 7 a.m. Mountain Time on YouTube, or send us an email to info@reimorningshow.com. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning. We're going to be talking about the Smith maneuver with Keaton Kirkwood.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. Want to be coached personally by Wayne and Gabby? Then you should join the Real Estate Investing Masters Mentorship Program. Details are in the show notes to get started.